the league get that rush, that initial rush of media rights money in, and let the owners bathe in some actual profits for the first time ever before having done this. They jumped the gun. And they're going to, in part, pay the price.
This isn't anger. This is surrender. Sophie Cunningham just spat the word reckless 4 times within 15 seconds while exposing the collapsing reality of WNBA deal talks, and by her account, the league is barreling toward a shutdown that may erase the whole 2026 season entirely completely. So what dark truth is unfolding privately that has players this defeated?
See the light at the end of the tunnel, according to Breanna Stewart, and frankly, she sounds like they understand they're getting their asses handed to them. In the court of public opinion, forget about it. Forget about it. Fans are like, nah, we're seeing now what you are turning down.
Now, this is what makes her reaction feel explosive. The league's newest framework isn't a slapdash bid meant to belittle players. We're looking at a structure that hands athletes over 70% of net revenue. Once expenses hit, meaning after the league covers charter travel, luxury hotels, modernized arenas, and every perk players have chased for years, the average paycheck would surge from $120,000 to above $530,000 in year 1, then rise to beyond $770,000 across the span of the contract. Base salaries would leap from $67,000 to roughly $250,000. And Sophie Cunningham's answer to all of it: nothing has changed. The word she circles again and again is done. So either the union is delivering a narrative that clashes with these figures, or there's a deep fracture over what anyone here believes a fair deal truly is now.
Just starting to see a possible resolution to the talks. Interesting. The Liberty Star and Unrivaled co-founder is also the vice president of the WNBA Players Union. Make it make sense. Which has been pushing for a bigger share of league revenue. Stewart told reporters earlier this month that while WNBA players have the ability to strike, quote, in our back pocket, no strike was imminent.
This is the question that refuses to stay buried. Sophie says she receives weekly messages from the Players Association camp. What exactly fills those emails? What tone is used? What lens is applied? What carefully filtered details are chosen to convince players that an offer multiplying their pay equals no movement? Because here is the hard truth about the WNBA finances. The league has never posted a profit. Not once in 28 years of existence, not even during Caitlin Clark's rookie season when viewership and crowds reached record peaks. The NBA has propped up WNBA losses for almost 30 years, funding everything from day-to-day operations to promotion to long-term infrastructure. That is not rumor. That is recorded financial fact. So when players demand more, the question shifts to more than what? More than a league that has never made money can realistically pay beyond 70% of net revenue. At what moment does the demand drift away from basic business reality?
Quote, my brain is hurting. Mine too. From the range and complexity of the talks. Quote, unfortunately, I wasn't an economics major or anything like that, but we're trying to get the best deal possible, and we want to negotiate in good faith with the league. All right. Let me concentrate on this first.
And this is where the tension turns uneasy. How deeply are these players really digging into the league's true financial framework? Are they breaking down how the WNBA and NBA are intertwined? Are they studying income channels, overhead expenses, broadcast contracts, and sponsorship money? Or are they trusting whatever lands in their inbox from the Players Association each week? It's far easier to accept a storyline handed to you than to comb through balance sheets and realize the story you've absorbed might not align with reality. If your entire career has been shaped by the belief that the league is withholding from you, that owners are driven by greed, that you're being shortchanged, then facing proof that challenges that belief demands a kind of intellectual courage most people struggle to summon. Sophie Cunningham herself admitted on an earlier podcast that she sees the conflict of interest involving Visa Collier, Breanna Stewart, and their positions within CBA talks. She understands that overlap creates serious issues. So the real question becomes, what is she doing to navigate around that conflict and reach the unfiltered truth? And what concrete steps are players taking to confirm whether the information they're being fed is actually accurate?
A salary cap of $5 million. Later, the union sent the league a new proposal that wants 30% of gross revenue. A salary cap of $10.5 million. It's the gross versus net that again, it's only fair that they get a share if there's a profit. That's fair. You're not the NBA. You're not Major League Baseball.
Because there's a darker angle here that we can't ignore. Maybe some players actually do understand the full picture. Maybe they've seen the numbers, grasped the financial limits, and know that this proposal is genuinely generous considering how the league has performed, yet their pride won't allow them to admit it in public. Ego starts to outweigh logic. Or maybe there's a third group, players who don't want to know the truth because staying in the dark lets them keep feeding a narrative that feels righteous, even if it's built on shaky facts. If you never open the books, you never have to face the terrifying possibility that you've been wrong all along.
After it launches a men's version, quote, "We'd ultimately like to do a women's league in Europe if we can figure out the correct model." Man, they are dead. Unrivaled. Whoa! You're done for. The WNBA has historically reported losses, but the lack of full transparency around teams and leagues' books have been a point of contention in labor talks. Front office sports, stop it. Don't you?
This clip right here captures the whole issue. Lisa Leslie, one of the most legendary players in WNBA history, suggesting that NBA players should simply donate money to cover WNBA salaries. Maybe skip the casino one night and bankroll women's basketball instead. Now you could say she's joking. The tone is playful. Everyone's laughing. It feels like a light moment. But look at the actions that have followed from today's generation of players. The entitlement, the demands that ignore revenue realities, the constant comparisons to the NBA's current wealth instead of where the NBA stood after nearly 3 decades. The behavior shows this isn't a joke at all. It's the belief system underneath it. Lisa Leslie talks about hard work deserving compensation. And she's right that playing professional basketball demands enormous sacrifice and effort, but effort alone doesn't produce revenue. The market decides value. You can grind harder than anyone and still not create a profitable product. That's not unfair. That's economics. And honestly, if hard work translated into a consistently strong product across the board, we wouldn't see the basic skill gaps that still exist in the WNBA. We wouldn't see missed layups in key moments. We wouldn't see defensive breakdowns that would get you benched in a high school game. We wouldn't see the inconsistency in basic basketball execution that haunts the league. A few players like Caitlin Clark, Nafisa Collier, and Aya Wilson clearly put in elite-level work, and it shows in their performance. But let's not pretend the entire league plays at that level.
Order over here. Adam Silver would go on to say, hey, we're doing whatever's necessary to get the deal done, and they're available at any point. I don't know. I mean, light at the end of the tunnel.
So, this is the real issue. The WNBA is standing at a fork in the road. The owners have put forward a proposal that would radically raise player pay while openly acknowledging the league has never turned a profit. They're offering to split more than 70% of net revenue, an extremely generous share for a business that is losing money. They're committing to charter flights, upgraded facilities, better hotels, and the quality of life upgrades players have demanded for years. And the Players Association's response, through Sophie Cunningham, is that negotiations are dumb and heading toward a lockout that could wipe out the 2026 season. Think about what that implies. The league just had its biggest year ever, largely driven by Caitlin Clark's impact on ratings and attendance. Momentum is building, expansion is being discussed, media rights deals are being negotiated. This is the moment when the WNBA has the best chance it's ever had to solidify itself as a sustainable professional sports league. And instead of using that momentum, instead of accepting a deal that would make players far wealthier while giving the league space to grow, the Players Association seems ready to destroy it all over demands that may not be financially feasible. Sophie Cunningham mentioned the conflict of interest with Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart being involved in negotiations, while also having business interests that could benefit from league instability. That's not a small issue. That's a core flaw in the negotiation setup. When the people representing players have financial incentives that don't align with what's best for the league's long-term survival, you end up with this kind of chaos. The weekly emails Sophie receives from the Players Association clearly aren't showing the full financial reality. They're shaping the narrative to make players feel cheated when the objective numbers suggest otherwise. That's not advocacy. That's manipulation. And the players who are simply accepting that narrative without doing their own research, without reviewing the league's actual financial statements, without understanding the history of the NBA subsidizing the WNBA, without comparing this offer to what other startup leagues offer, those players are making choices based on incomplete information. The hard truth is this: the WNBA doesn't generate enough revenue to support NBA-level salaries. It never has. The reason it has survived for 28 years is entirely because the NBA has been willing to absorb losses to keep it running. That's not exploitation. That's subsidy. And at some point, that subsidy hits a limit. If players push this into a lockout, if the 2026 season is canceled, the momentum from Caitlin Clark's rookie year disappears. Casual fans who just started watching will move on. TV networks will question whether the league is stable enough to justify higher media rights fees. Sponsors will get cold feet about being tied to a league embroiled in labor conflict. The harm could push the league back 10 years. And for what? To make a statement. To protect a story about exploitation that doesn't fit the financial facts. To avoid the painful truth that maybe the current offer is actually reasonable under these conditions. Sophie Cunningham's irritation is understandable. Negotiations are grueling. The process is slow and loaded with legal hurdles. But labeling it dumb and forecasting a lockout implies a deep refusal to grapple with the actual economics at play. It implies the Players Association has convinced its members that anything short of their demands equals disrespect, regardless of whether those demands can be sustained. The owners are not required to run a business at a loss forever. The NBA is not obligated to subsidize the WNBA for eternity. Eventually, the league has to stand on its own financially or it won't last. And this proposal, this offer of 70% of net revenue with sharply increased pay and upgraded conditions might be the best chance players will get to secure their futures while giving the league a shot at profitability. If they reject it and push toward a lockout, they better be absolutely sure they're making that choice based on full information and solid economic analysis. Because if they're basing it on weekly emails from a players' association with conflicts of interest and a record of questionable negotiation tactics, they might be about to commit the biggest error in WNBA history. So, was Sophie Cunningham right to raise the alarm about a potential lockout? Absolutely. But maybe not for the reasons she believes. The real danger isn't that ownership is being unreasonable. It's that players are being fed a narrative that disconnects them from reality. And that disconnect could destroy the league's best shot at long-term survival. What do you think happens if the 2026 season gets canceled?